Hello, bent riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laidback Bike Report, coming to you live from the Laidback Studios, Pickerington, Ohio, where we produce this monthly webcast that can be watched live or viewed later on YouTube. Don't forget, if you would, to subscribe. If you look down in the lower right-hand corner, you see a little red subscribe button. Please hit that and subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notifications of when we go live and our videos. And if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little letter I that stands for information. If you click that, you'll be taken to our website and be able to find out lots more about what the Laidback Bike Report is about. So that's how you can do that. We'd appreciate it if you can do that. We have a really great show coming up for you today, and we would love for you to be a part of that show, and an active part, if you would. We can do that if you'll join us in the live chat, the YouTube live chat. So if you are watching us on YouTube and you look to probably that side, you'll see to the right of the viewing window, the live chat, and you can just type in there any questions or thoughts you may have. And we have all of our panelists today, or most of them at least, on that live chat. You'll be able to chat along with them. We'll introduce them shortly. If you're watching from our website, laidbackbikereport.com, you look below the live viewer and you'll see the chat there. If you're watching on Bent Rider, Facebook, or Twitter, click through to the YouTube site, click on the link or the little YouTube, watch on YouTube part of the viewer, and you'll come to the YouTube page, and you can then watch and chat with us, which is really what we love you to do. So I told you we're going to have a great show. Let me tell you a little bit about what we got coming up today. We have an interview with our special guests, of course. We'll talk to them in just a minute. I'll tell you who they are. We have Doug Davis, who is with us again today, and he's going to do a report on the HOT Rally, the Heart of Texas Rally, and the Texas Senior Games. He attended both of those, and he'll have a little report with some pictures. I think you'll enjoy that. Bryan Ball, of course, is with us today from Bent Rider, and he is at the Laidback News Desk to tell us, among other things, about the new Greenspeed Aero. He's got a little mini review for us, so if you're interested in more about that, you won't want to miss it. Denny Voorhees is with us talking about some RAAM stuff at the Laidback Sports Desk, so look forward to Denny's report. And Dana's back with us. We're glad to have him back, and he'll be talking today about the rear derailleurs, maintenance, maybe the differences between them. So stay tuned for Dana's report. And then, of course, we'll get to the Google Plus Recumbent Bike Rider community posts, business, all the stuff's going on at Google Plus on the Google Plus site there. Now, folks, I couldn't be more excited at this point to announce that the sponsor for today's show is Velocity. One of the most important purchases you can make for any bent are the wheels. Velocity has the experience to keep you rolling by supplying the best rims and wheels to the industry for going on 25 years. Velocity manufactures rims right here in the USA, exporting to happy customers around the world. Their professional wheel builders hand build all their wheels with experience, precision, dedication, pride, and commitment to the exacting standards you've come to expect from a true hand-built wheel. Customers of Velocity, such as RANS, Catrike, Easy Racer, TerraTrike, Cruise Bike, and many more, know the difference Velocity wheels make for their bents. Perhaps it's time for you to see for yourself. If you're looking for an upgrade, say more breeze on the knees, an edge on the competition, or perhaps something a bit more stout to carry your load, make Velocity your wheels of choice. Stay with us and learn more about Velocity wheels and a couple of very special offers they are making exclusively to our viewers later in the show. Well, folks, now let's move along and introduce our panelists for today. First, from South Florida. Let's see, do we have them? Our media specialist, Carl Kidd. Hello, Carl, welcome.
Hi, Gary. Welcome from hot hot South Florida. It's mid-80s, but it's a beautiful, beautiful day. And of course, you know what's coming. That shout out to our most famous watcher of the Laidback Bike Report, my mom, Wanda. Hi, Mom. So
Hello,
back to you, Gary.
Wanda. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And then next, of course, from Sarah, Pennsylvania, our Laidback Sports Desk anchor, it's Denny Voorhees. Hey, Denny.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, well, you know, I didn't unmute my microphone.
No, you did. You're fine. We heard that.
Oh, okay. All right, great. It didn't look like it did. Hey, great. It's not South Florida weather here today, but it's sunny. We'll be out on the bike as soon as this is over today.
Very good. All right. Our next panelist has been known to confuse an Arkell trunk bag for a coffin. From Cold Spring, Kentucky, the esteemed co-editor of Bent Rider, Larry Varney. Hey, Larry.
Hi, Gary. I was about ready to say it's not as warm as it is in Florida. I look my outside thermometer at 62, and after I get through here, I'm not going to be riding a bike. I got to cut my grass. But anyway, I'm glad to be here and looking forward to hearing from all the different people that are going to be on today's show.
Very nice. Okay. And picking up the director's job today, we really appreciate it. It's Rochester, New York, founder and editor of Bent Rider and the anchor of the Laidback News Desk, Bryan Ball. Hey, Bryan.
Hey, how's it going? I'm not going to give a weather report.
Thank you for that. Because people can probably read
we eat
about
up too much time doing that.
All right. Let's move along then. Let's go out to North Hollywood, California, where our recumbent wrench and technology expert, the owner of Bent Up Cycles, it's Dana Lieberman. Hey, Dana.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you're at. Have a good day.
Great, and we'll be back to Dana a little later. And lastly, a guest panelist. He's been on the show a few times before, mostly talking about velomobiles. From Big D, Dallas, Texas, we have our resident velomobile pal here to talk about a couple of his recent recumbent events. Known as Mr. Wizard, we'll look for some magic today from Doug Davis. Hey, Doug.
Hey, it's a Rule 9 day today, so I'll be riding afterwards. So
good to know. Well, we'll look for some video of that. I think that would be good. All right, let's move along, folks, if we could. I want to talk to you about our first guest on the show today. The name RANS has long and storied history in the recumbent world. Started by the Schlitter brothers in 1974, this stalwart bent manufacturer went on to develop and sell thousands of bikes over the years. Many of these designs were cutting edge at the time and were pivotal in the expanding range of what was possible in a recumbent bike. In 2015, Randy Schlitter sold the RANS bike business to our guest today. He and his wife, Kara, have transformed this business into a competitive 21st century enterprise while remaining true to its rural Kansas roots. Bent Riders from Montezuma, Kansas, today's special guest is Jerrell NIchols. Good afternoon, Jerrell.
Hey, Gary, everyone.
It's good to have you on. Jerrell, I thought maybe we could just jump into the interview if we could first. And if you could tell us a little bit about your background before you acquired RANS bikes.
You know, the Nichols family has long been involved in automotive repair, and that was the family business, and that's what I grew up in. And but a personal interest was pedal sports, so I started a small sideline business, a bike shop in town here. And of course, in looking for a manufacturer to supply the bikes to put on the showroom, why obviously RANS was an obvious choice because they're a Kansas manufacturer, and that started quite a relationship and a friendship with Randy and an enthusiasm for the product. And we sold a lot of bikes in a town of 1,000 people, and people said we'd never sell them in a small town. They're too expensive, not enough people, but we proved that wrong. So here we are. Had no idea that I would one day be at the helm of the company, but you never know what's coming in the future. And yeah, one day Randy called up and said, what would you think about taking over RANS Bikes manufacturing? And so, wow, quite a thought.
So this came out of the
But
blue,
after fixing-
Jerrell. You hadn't talked to him about this before, or made any overtures at all?
Not at all. Not completely out of the blue. But I'd fixed cars for 20 years, and a change was welcome. It wasn't a new thought that, hey, let's do something different. And this fell into my lap due to that phone call. And yeah, it's not been something that's just been easy, but it's been rewarding and challenging. And yeah, met a lot of great people.
Yep. And there are a lot of great people in this business, obviously, so as you well know. So, all right, that's super. I was going to ask you about the story about the purchase. You just talked about that. So let's get on to what it is that RANS Bikes actually does. Can you tell us about your product line?
Okay. Two wheels is all we have. Yeah, there you go. That's the recumbent side of the house. A few airplanes there too, but that's another story. But yeah, of course, still the Stratus XP, Stratus LE, flagships of the company is what I call them. They're just continue to give that ride that people want. Tandems back there against the wall, the Sevo and the Screamer, still popular and well loved. The Extreme, and maybe I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but the Extreme is going to get rebooted with dual 700Cs, so that's on the table. And there's not a rocket in the picture, but there is a rifle there. But anyway, yeah. And then there is the crank forward side of the house, which those move a lot of those through too. Fusion step through, the white one there, a gold cruise, another green step through, and a standard Fusion. So yeah, those get a lot of attention and a lot of enthusiastic riders on those.
And the next
as well.
one, Carl. And there's a
okay,
little
just another
cargo
shot.
action, huh?
Yeah, there's the Hammer truck. Not currently in production, but likely will be. We love it.
Okay.
So it'll be rebooted a little bit, changed a bit, make it a little stiffer. And then you see the Alteras there and a Fusion frame hanging on the wall. So, yep, that's the showroom. That's kind of if you were standing in the middle of it and turned the circle, that's what you'd see.
Very good. All right, now let's talk about who works at RANS Bikes. Tell us how many thousands of people that you have on your staff there.
No, there's no thousands of people. My wife and I do most of holding the fort down. Her dad is retired, but he comes in and helps actually most every day. And then we have a gentleman by the name of Paul Krieg, who has been you may have read some of his articles, lots of touring and built his own recumbents. He's been a long-time RANS enthusiast, and he's also had 20 years of tool and die experience in machine shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he's actually moving to Montezuma, and he has been a real boost as far as getting me up to speed with machining and the manufacturing side of it. And so a real shout out to him. He's helped us a bunch. He's also retired. I guess I'm not sure what that means. I have two retired people that were pulling back out of retirement.
I'll tell you what it means, Jerrell. I mean, because that's who I rely on, and I am as well. Right? It's the kind of people that have the time to do these things is what it is. So great. It sounds like just the kind of guy that you need. So, all right, let's talk about. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt is there more staff?
No, not really. Yes and no. We do. We outsource. I have two sisters involved with the website and the brother-in-law that's an accountant that takes care of the books. So yeah, those aren't in-house though, but they're very vital to the process.
But it's very much a family affair, it sounds like, which is a wonderful way to do a business. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about what changes you have made since you took over RANS. How does RANS differ today than it did, say, 3 years ago?
Well, we're not building airplanes. So we focus 100% on bicycles, and that just by default changes some things. That's what Randy wanted. He wanted somebody that loved the product and could just focus time and attention on that and spend more time looking at the product, fixing things that need to be fixed, improving things, whether it's the dealer agreement or whether it's the way a bicycle is built, jigged, or fixtured. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we go through the walkthrough. But yeah, I think my background in problem solving and customer service in the repair industry has influenced by default how we do business.
I think, Jerrell, that most folks that have had any interactions with your RANS from the previous one, not to cast any dispersions on the previous one, but most folks would have to say that you've done wonders in improving customer service. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So can you tell us a little bit about how you approach customer service and how you feel that's changed? How do you do it?
Well, to put that in a nutshell is a little difficult, but I've said if you want to be successful in the service business, you only need to know one word, and that's yes. That may get you into trouble because I say yes to too much stuff probably, but yeah, when they have a problem, try to take it seriously and fix it when they have a request. I've built some custom things for even other manufacturers' bikes, just to help a dealer out. Those type of things can take time, but they work. They work as far as what would you say, endearing yourself to the dealer, to the customer.
Absolutely.
And try to get the bike packed well and get it there without freight damage and those type of things. And then just make sure everything's in the package. That's a challenge. There's always the opportunity for human error. So to keep refining that process is what we try to do.
And importantly, I think you would say that if there is a problem, if anything does come up, people can get a hold of you. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say. They call, either Kara or myself will answer the phone.
So right, and so you get to talk directly to the guy or lady in charge, and I think that's an important feature as well. All right, let's talk about the manufacturing a little bit here. So, what exactly is made in your shop, and are there parts that are made elsewhere? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have the tandems. There you have a yellow Screamer on the stand. Tandems are made here. The Extreme, Rifles, Rocket, Alteras, they're made in-house. But yeah, we do import some frames from Taiwan, some of the crank forwards, and right now the Stratuses are imported. We are going to reboot the Stratus K frame, the aluminum K frame, so that's coming. That'll be built in-house, of course. And yeah, of course, we don't build wheels here. We leave that to Velocity. They do a terrific job. Chain management, Pat Franz, TerraCycle take care of that. And of course, the derailleurs and cranksets and all that stuff comes from the normal suppliers. So I would say it's about half and half.
Jerrell, there's a question from Part Talk 81. Rob, I think that's Rob, and it says, do they still sell a high racer style bike? I think you mentioned that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we do. We have the Rifle, and sits on 700Cs. It's a stick frame, and built out of 7005 aluminum. It's an oval extrusion we use for the main tube. Yeah, we do. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay.
And you see people talking about the Rifles with a loving eye all the time online. So, all right, super. Let's, at this point, Jerrell has something special planned for us. He's going to take us on a tour of RANS, and we're going to get to see the shop, and then we're going to actually go out there and take a look at some frames and maybe even get a little demonstration. Jerrell, you want to go ahead and give us a tour?
Okay, we'll see how this goes. Okay, I'm walking out of the office here. This is the showroom, like you've already seen. This is what you see when you walk in the front door. Right there's the front door. Okay, and holler at me if you have trouble seeing this. I'll try to.
Yeah, don't sweep it across too much, but like what you're doing now is fine, and you'll settle down when you get to a shot. That's fine.
I don't mean to start controversy, but what is that underseat steering thing you quickly went by?
We got to keep prototyping stuff, Brian. Yeah, we've been having fun with a push stick underseat steering. So stay tuned. We'll see where that goes.
Whenever I see
here's-
something I don't know, I have to say something.
Yeah, that's all right. Sharp eye there.
Yeah.
So these are our assembly tables.
Okay, there we go.
And
Yeah, hold it nice and
right there.
steady. Take a nice shot like you're taking a still shot, Jerrell, and then hold it. There you go.
Okay, these are our assembly tables, and 3 of them here. That's where the frames get put on. All the components go on the frames in preparation to shipping out. So everything in this room here, everything that's finished comes into here and gets put together in whatever bike the dealer or the customer has ordered. And so lots of parts, lots of finished parts in here. And this is Kara's domain. She makes things happen in here, really does. So I'm kind of lost in here. A lot of times I have to ask her where stuff is. So that's all right. She's lost in the weld shop. So we have our spaces. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the back. So we may.
And while you're walking
pixelate
back
here a
there,
little bit.
Jerrell, I've got a question from George Varn asking, will all Stratuses be aluminum?
No, we still have the steel ones. We'll still keep the steel ones coming in from Taiwan.
Very good. And Jerry Dominato, a friend of mine actually, says, I have a Screamer Tandem and RANS customer service has been excellent. So, and just to add a little note, Jerry's Screamer Tandem was my old Screamer Tandem that I sold him many years ago. Still getting good service, I think. So go ahead, Jerrell.
Well, okay. Well, this is the weld shop. So here is I guess my pride and joy a little bit in the weld shop. It's a 5,000-pound T-slot table that used to be in Boeing aircraft manufacturing in Wichita. It was a milling machine weigh table, and it is flat. It's 9 foot long, 4.5 foot wide, and here is a rocket that is fixtured on the table now, getting ready for mitering. We miter these tubes for like the head tube and the bottom bracket. We miter them in the fixture. So there's a hole saw getting ready to plunge the hole for the head tube through the frame. That all right. Here's another one ready to do the bottom bracket. So anyway, yeah, that's where they actually get mitered and welded. And then over here, there's an old CNC retrofit that I bought because it didn't work and did a little magic to it, and it works now. An old Bridgeport. They get used every day. A lathe back there in the corner. Fairly simple shop, but good tools, and then a lot of frame building parts along here. So this is where I spend the bulk of my time.
All right.
Yeah. Welders. Yeah, got a welder on a bench, and then I'm kind of a rope guy. I got a welder hanging from the ceiling. So free up the floor space.
There's something you don't see every day.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit unconventional. So, okay. And then did you want to do a little,
I would love to
demonstration
see,
here?
yeah. We'd love to see a little action here. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's going to get a little noisy. I'm going to turn the welder on. It's got a water cooler and a fan, and then, and I'm running low on battery. This process eats up a lot of battery. I can get an extension cord and that charger. So I'll get Dylan's here, my son, and he'll get us hooked up to power.
If you lose power and go off the air, we'll just go on and come back to you when you're back. But go ahead.
Okay, I'm donning my welding helmet and gloves here. And this is a rocket frame. And I put together a quick little stand to show plug that in there. Okay, we're hooked up to power, so we should be all right. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, yeah, it looks great.
Okay. All right, now it's gonna go black because I'm gonna put over the camera. So hopefully you can actually get an arc shot.
Okay.
So here we go. Now this will probably be the worst weld I've ever done in my life. I've never done one live on camera before, but we're going to give it a shot. Here goes.
So far, we're not seeing anything. Maybe you haven't got it. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Sounds like you just fired up your lightsaber.
That's looking great, Jerrell. Sounds like a busy signal that I used to get on my phone all the time.
Okay, that's an inverter machine set on pulse. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the lens off so you can see what I just welded. And if you could reach out and touch it, it'd burn you. There you are.
Wow, look at that. That's beautiful. Like a work of
A little
art.
stack of dimes there.
Very nice, Jerrell. That's wonderful. That was really interesting, and it was the shot
Okay.
through through the mask was really good. That was interesting to see that. That was great. All right, go ahead.
All righty. So that's that. That's something I really enjoy doing.
I could see that.
Hey,
All right.
Jerrell.
I was going to wait. Hang on, Dana. That was great. If you can get to a place where you might want to settle down a little bit, I'm going to ask our panel or anybody else in the chatting audience for questions. And Dana, I think Dana's got the first one. So when you're ready, go ahead, Dana.
So you got that huge table there for setting up the jigs. Do you have to re-jig between bikes, or do you have multiple jigs on that one table, or are all of the bikes using the same jig?
No, I have. It's a very unique setup, and that is something we have done different than they did in Hayes. Is they didn't have a table like this, and I make what we call paper dolls. And they're a little metal pattern that goes down on the table, and that holds custom built V blocks, holds the tubing at all the right height. So it's a very quick swap.
Wow.
It's a very simple setup, and the T slots are simulate ground plane. So the you can always measure up from a T slot and know how far you are from the ground, from the axle, and yeah, it makes for a self-correcting jig. So there's no warp factor in the jig, and it builds a very, very straight bike.
Okay. Anybody else on the panel have a question?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to ask it on the show, I'm sure. If there's it in the chat room, I haven't been able to keep up on it. But are you guys ever going to do trikes again, you think?
It's not a new thought, Brian. Yeah, we haven't kicked that one out. Randy and I have been brainstorming together. We have a number of drawings. But hey, one thing at a time. The last 2 years have been very, very full of a lot of changes. And, just the fact of moving and setting up in a different location and a whole new jigging method has, and taking care of all that has been a full-time job. But trikes are on the table.
And my last question, has Randy made you throw up in an airplane yet?
No, he hasn't. He's taken me and the boys all individually, and we've all been upside down and right side up. And
Clearly, it's not because he hasn't tried.
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they can't get enough of it. So yeah, we have a lot of fun when we're together with Randy. I tell you what, and that's one thing I did want to stress is that taking over this company, it puts me in the perspective to really appreciate Randy's genius. I tell you what, his design is amazing. I can only try to make a few things better. But when it comes to designing something new, he's on the phone and we work on that together.
I met him as a pilot when I was like 14, long before I knew anything about the bikes. And yeah, he's an amazing pilot.
Yes, he is. Amazing pilot and builder and designer and manufacturer and artist. I don't know how many of you saw that picture that he sent me. I posted it on Facebook. And I can take you back up front and show it to you in a bit. But yeah, it's he's quite an artist too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a George Farn question. Ever thought about going back to making the old tailwind the way it was?
Oh yeah, a lot of people. It's interesting sitting in my seat. I say it's like making soup. You take everybody's wish and desire and put it into a big pot and let it simmer and see what comes out of it. But yeah, people that want the Vivo and the tailwind, there's a lot of people that love those bikes and want them back. So that's not been a new request, just not doing it right now.
All right, and then also Part Talk 81. Rob wants to know, any bikes in carbon coming?
Not at this point. The only carbon fiber experience I really have is model airplane parts that I've built. So yeah, it's not something we're set up to do in-house here.
A tough question right after that amazing welding demonstration that you just gave us. So we'll kind of skip over that then. All right, any other questions, guys?
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Go ahead, Al.
When you say trikes, are you talking Delta or Tadpole?
Delta, possibly. The thought has been somewhat to reboot the Trizzard. New and improved Trizzard.
Oh boys, wait till you see what I've done.
Yeah, so that's where we're going with Alan here shortly. But
okay, I may be stepping on your toes. Well.
No, not at all. We need to know that anyway. So, all right, is that it, guys? Anybody else on the panel?
Yeah, I got one quick thing. I know you're right on the RAM route, right, Jerrell?
We are, yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe we'll try to arrange it so we can stop in for 5. If it's during the daylight hours, we stop in for 5 minutes or so.
If it's night, let me know, and I'll stop in anyway. We're right along the highway.
Fabulous. Yeah, I know Montezuma quite well, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a time station.
It sure is. Okay, thanks.
Very good. All right, Jerrell, thank you. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave with us here?
Well, not that I can think of. No, we could talk all day, but we don't have that kind of time.
We don't, and I sure appreciate you coming on and showing us around the shop and doing that demonstration. Very, very interesting stuff. So, Jerrell, please, if you have the time, stick around for the rest of the show. Maybe you can see what else is going on. If you got to go, we understand, but I wanted to take the time to thank you very much for not only for this particular show and demonstration, but all the support that you've given the Laidback Bike Report right from the start. We sure appreciate all of that. Thanks, Jerrell.
Well, thanks, Gary. I appreciate everything you're doing for the recumbent industry in general.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, folks. That was Jerrell NIchols and RANS. And now we're going to move along. I'm going to talk about our next guest, who first contacted me last September with a question for Warren Beauchamp about gearing for a velomobile. As we began to correspond, he made me aware of his own trike building ambitions, which he hoped would eventually result in the creation of a velomobile, the likes of which had not been attempted before. He has since built a trike prototype, and he would like to give our viewers a look at what he's gone through to get here and where he intends to go with this concept. Folks, let's go to Sandpoint, Idaho, and say hello to Alan Mikoleit. Hello, Alan.
Hi, how you doing?
All right, we're doing good, Alan. So, folks, Alan's bandwidth is not the greatest, so kind of bear with us if you can. We'll move slowly and see if we can't get everything on the air looking good. Alan, can you tell us a little bit about your recumbent biking background?
In 1985, I was in Portland, Oregon, and I had been running for 10 years straight every day. And all of my joints were wearing out. And I went to a local bike shop, and they had told me about Gary Hill down in Eugene, Oregon. So I went down there and tested his runner recumbent and liked it and bought one. So very shortly after that, OHPV got started, Oregon Human Powered Vehicles, And at that time, there were very few recumbents being made. And so we all started, a lot of us started making our own recumbents, including me. And I worked a lot with the president of the club, Jerry Jacobson, and then later, AKA Johnny Rocketman, John Williams, in designing and making bikes.
Okay, all right. And then at some point, then I guess you you got an idea for this project that you're working on. So let's, I guess, might be a good time now then to start the slideshow, and you can tell us about the progression of your idea from beginning to the end. So can you see the slide okay there, Alan?
Yeah, I can see that. I started out wanting to make a tilting delta, and I gave up on that idea. It was I thought it would only be worthwhile to have a tilter that's self-centered, and I don't know if that's possible or not. So if you just skip through to slide 4.
Go ahead, Carl.
To save time.
Just tell him. Just tell him when to stop.
Yeah, this is a Mosquito. Yeah, these are all tilting deltas that are pretty high quality.
Next one, Carl.
So there we go. This is the RANS Trizard, and this has the biggest influence on what I did. And there was a discussion on the Bryan's boards. If the RANS Trizard would be rebuilt today, what would be done to it? How would it be made better? So that's basically what I did. I widened the track and made a long wheelbase, lowered the seat, and created front wheel drive. And so I posted that idea on the boards. And next slide. This is Tony from Seattle posted this on the boards. This is Dave Cloud's Electrothon vehicle, and Shannon, his daughter, set a record at Bonneville Salt Flats with this vehicle going 110 miles an hour, and she made a turnaround after she went through the traps at 100 miles an hour and just went into a slide and didn't lift the wheels. So I knew then that I was on the right track, that a low seat and a wide track would give incredible stability. So that's what I went on to do. Plus, Bryan, well, just a minute, go back to the Trizard for previous slide.
Yeah, it's there.
Previous. Okay, there we go. This slide is from Bryan's. Yeah, right there. This slide is from Bryan's review of the Trizard, and in his review, he said that he tried very hard to tip this and could not tip it. So when I saw that kind of stability, I knew that was the right way to go, to have a wider track and not a tilting delta. Okay, so you can go to slide 6. Okay, this after back 1.
Yeah, he doesn't know what the numbers are, so just tell him if you say the red.
Okay. Yeah, okay. This car I found after I finished the bike. It's called the Vigilante, and it was made in 1993. It does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. It has a tilting factor of 3.7 Gs, meaning that until it exceeds 3.27 Gs, it will not tilt, will not lift a wheel. So this, between the RANS Trizard, Dave Cloud's Electrothon vehicle, and this, it just shows that a Delta can be an extremely high performance vehicle. They've just gotten a bad rap because until now, no one has made a really decent Delta with the proper geometry. Okay, slide 7. So people will think, okay, wide track, that sounds good. That gives you high performance, but it won't go through a doorway. So this is how I get the trike to the door. It's not very hard. Next slide. And people will think, okay, it goes through a doorway, okay, but it won't go into my car. So this is a Honda minivan with the rear seats removed. And this is how I transport the trike. Okay, next slide. This, the trike I made is a little bit different than this. If I do a metal frame again, it will have the frame around the wheels and not over the wheels like I have now. I use bike forks to hold the rear wheels on the present frame. You'll see that in just a second. It's right here. Okay, so next slide. Next slide is just a different view. This is a CAD model. I use SolidWorks for all of my design. This is the front half being jigged up for welding. Next slide. This is the front half and the seat back being jigged up for welding. Next slide. And this is the whole frame. And instead of making a separate seat frame and putting it on a frame to save weight, I made the seat frame structural, and the foam goes down inside the frame to save to lower the seat as low as I possibly could on this. The ground clearance is 3.5 inches. So, next slide. So this is the finished bike. It has 36-inch track. In fact, after I saw Dave Cloud's vehicle, I called Dave Cloud and asked him where to put the track, and he told me 36 inches. So that's where this is. It's 36, and it's working really well. I don't plan to go any wider or any narrower. And it has the front wheel drive. Okay, next. So this picture is showing that I found these pictures of similar front wheel drives after I finished the trike, and this shows that I did not come up with this design, this backwards front wheel drive design. Next. This is a CAD model of the Velomobile. Next, you can just go through these.
Kind of go through them every second or so,
yeah,
Carl, until he tells you to stop.
You can just go through these. You can just go through these and stop at the bottom view. Okay, stop here. Okay, notice that on this, I just have one small hole for one wheel as compared to a Tadpole Velomobile that has 5 large holes. That's one thing I wanted to fix in doing this Velomobile. Sam Winningham says that the holes in the bottom of a speed bike are half the drag, so I wanted to get the hole size down, hole number and size down. And this shows the profile as compared to a Tadpole, you know, the airfoil shape. Okay, next. This is the bulkhead form that I use to make the form for the female molds. These were all derived off the CAD model. So next, there's one more picture of this. That's the same thing. Okay, next. Originally, I was going to make a cedar stripped Velomobile shell, but after doing this, it was so tedious and took so long. I said there was no way I wanted to strip up something like this again. So I you can just go through these. Okay, next. Next. So I coated it with plaster and decided to make it into a plug to make a female mold set off, and this is the way it looks right now. The black lines are the cut lines. The canopy will fold forward, and you can see that there's a hood line. There'll be a hood come off for the front wheel drivetrain, and notice that the canopy comes back as wide as the sides are, so you have more headroom, and the canopy opening comes to the full width of the sides and down those, so you'll have more room, easier to get in and out of. Okay, next. That's just another view. The ground clearance on this will be 4 inches. It's 9 feet long. It's about 3 feet high and 22 inches wide. Okay, next. This is a CAD model of the composite foam core that I am working on right now. In fact, I've already made, you'll see the foam core here for next generation to save weight. The trike as it is turned out to weigh 60 pounds, which is not acceptable, and so I'm going to go to composite to in the future to save weight and save money and save time. Right, next. Just another view. Okay, next. Okay, next. You can go next. Okay, next.
Okay.
Well, that should be at the end.
Yeah,
okay, I'm going to show the bike.
Yeah, go on over there. I'll let everyone know
that
this is the information to get a hold of Alan. And of course, like everything else from that, even that Jerrell talked about at RANS, everybody, all of the links that we have here or email addresses will be in the description of our YouTube video so that people will be able to find it. So yeah, go ahead, Alan. So now we're going to see, yeah, go ahead.
If anyone wants to contact me, just, that's my email. So I'm going to show the bike now. Finished trike. Okay, the rear, as you can see, the rear end is done different than over here. In the composite, the framework will go around the wheels and not.
So Alan, before you go on, make sure everyone understands what we're looking at here, and it's a little bit pixelated, so you're going to have to go very. Why don't you back up and show us the both trikes a little bit? Just back up and show us the wide shot.
All right, I'll show you everything here,
and then we'll take a look at what you have. Yeah, and then hold it very, very still on the whole thing so we can see. So why don't you tell us now what you have right in front of you, and then what's behind that? What do you have there?
Okay, the front is the trike as the steel frame trike, and it has 3 Kenda Quest 100 psi tires, which is working good. It has underseat steering. It has SRAM, and then we'll go. The ground clearance is just 3.5 inches, and then we'll go to the front wheel drive that I didn't come up with. I thought I had come up with it until I saw these other bikes. But I'm running out of Ford room.
Yeah, just hold it right there. Okay, just hold it right on the front wheel.
Okay, right now I have a triple on here that I have to change by hand, but this will change over to a high-speed drive, and I have a 50-39-28 on there. These are the idlers made out of not UHMW, but molybdenum nylon, which are extremely smooth and quiet, high wearing. And so this is just standard, like a standard front wheel drive bike, the way the Derailleur is. And this drive is extremely efficient, extremely quiet. With the front wheel drive, it has allowed me to not have a chain go under a heavy long chain go underneath the seat, and get the ground clearance down to only 3.5 inches. And so if I can't turn the crank now, it would take three hands to turn the crank.
That's okay. So now show us the back of the trike. Go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
Okay, right now I just have a triple. I have a 7-speed on here, and this is going to turn. Later I'm going to put a Sterling Archer drive on here with a 3-speed internal gear hub and a 10-speed cassette for wider gearing. My highest gear right now is 50-14, and it's way too low. So this is, and
so that everybody understands, Alan, so this trike that you're showing us now is going to be, and the changes are going to be the basis for what you're showing us right now for this Velomobile, right?
Yeah, correct. I'm sorry, I got to move something.
Okay, we've got a question while you're doing that. I will ask from SBC Clydesdale. Wants to know how can the chain bend or turn when the wheel turns very sharply on that front wheel drive?
Okay, it's called a twisting. It's called a twist. This is called the twisted chain. Let me see if I can. This is called a twisted chain front wheel drive. So I'll try and show the clearance as it turns. What stops it is the handlebar hits the seat, and that is the stop. So there you can see that the chain never hits anything.
So what you're saying is that the turning circle is good enough for certainly for a trike or for a velomobile.
Well, the turning circle is 15 feet diameter on this.
Yeah. Okay.
And so because this thing weighs 60 pounds, I am going to go to composite. And when I say composite, that is not carbon fiber. What I have found out is that S-glass is stronger than carbon fiber and 1/7 the cost. So I am going to go to, this is the foam core. This weighs 6 pounds right now as it is, and most of the weight is in that metal frame on the back that's going to hold the rear wheels. So the plan is to finish this composite frame up this month and put it into testing, and then make the velomobile a one-off velomobile at first before I do the molds, and then I'll be at TOT with this trike to show it and demo it, the composite bike.
And when will that be? When is the TOT?
That's the end of June. End of June.
Okay.
Around the 25th, 28th, or no, sorry, it's the 8th. Starts on the 18th.
So those folks that are on the West Coast, especially if you're going to be at that rally, you'll be able to see what Alan's up to at that time.
You'll be able to try this out. And whether I have the velomobile done then or not, I don't know. But there's the plug for making the molds.
Okay. All right, that's super nice. And I'll ask the panel if they have any questions in a second, but I want people to know that they can get a hold of Alan with questions or comments at that email address for now, which again, I'll have all those links in the description. Panel, any questions, guys? All right.
We have from SBC, Clydesdale, how stable is the Delta design in a high-speed descent?
Okay. I don't know if you're breaking up there a little, Denny. It's SBC Clydesdale. How stable is the Delta design in a high-speed descent, Alan?
I haven't tried that yet. We have a mountain here called Mount Schweitzer, and that is 10 miles and starts at 6,000 feet, comes down to 2,000 feet, and that'll be the really high-speed test. I haven't been able to do that test yet.
All right. And Alan, anything else, anything that you want our audience to know then that we may have overlooked or not asked today?
Well, I plan to put these up for sale, hopefully this year. We'll see what happens.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for taking the time to show us all your really hard work. I'm glad everyone here got a chance to see that. It's intriguing stuff. And we wish you well and hope that it all works out, and hopefully we'll see the final product sometime. You come back and show us a little bit. So, all right, that was Alan Mikoleit from Idaho, and now it's time to go to Texas and talk to Doug Davis, and he's going to give us a report from the Hot Rally and the Senior Games. We've got some pictures to show you from his trip. So, Doug, I'm going to throw it over to you. Take it.
Hey, Gary. So yeah, we had something we call the Heart of Texas Recumbent Rally that happens once a year down here, which is when you get together with at least a couple of hundred of your bent riding friends. It's down in Austin, which is roughly about 200 and something miles away as the crow flies from that. So if we can kick the slides up, we can kind of walk through the things here, or I can just talk to them either way.
Let me present them. Hang on a second.
There you go. There you go. Okay,
so
it was held February in Austin. It's 3 days long. It was started in 2010, We have there's a meet and a greet and a bunch of rides and what they call Recumbent University. It's got a list of sponsors, and the main one being the Easy Street Recumbent store down in Austin, Texas. All right, next slide. Because I'm a crazy bicyclist type, as you guys well know, I decided the best thing to do would be to ride to this thing. So, and we also had a little experiment that we wanted to do to see how many times I would get stopped along the way. Well, it turns out I didn't get stopped at all. I did get some evil eyes looking at me. A whole lot of the back of iPhones and other things taking pictures. If you search for my Dallas cyclist thing on Facebook, you can find some of those. There's a FOMO on Twitter and whatever where people took pictures. But that gives you the statistics of that ride. And that was in the Milan Velomobile. So that was a full day ride right there, if there is such a thing. And it gives you the stats that we had there. Go ahead, next slide. And that's what it looks like after you're done with that ride. I actually managed a better time than I expected. I got extraordinarily lucky, as they say, because we had a northern blow through, so I had tailwind the whole way down there, and so I wasn't beat up as much as it looked like I would be. But that was taken maybe about 20-30 minutes after I had gotten to the store. I left it early in the morning and got there late in the afternoon, but it worked out. So let's go on to the rally. Go ahead, next slide, please. The first day, official day, was a meet and greet. The second day we had what they call community rides, and they went from 8 miles to 45 miles. And they had pretty much everybody participated in it. The interesting thing about the starting location of this was that it was about 20 miles away from where the rally, the shop was being held, kind of the home base. So a number of us, including myself, rode over there that morning to start the ride. And so we ended up with maybe, I guess, two of us rode back and a handful of us rode over there. There was an interesting story about this. They had something they called the Warriors Ride, which was those of us that are supposed to be able to take 18 to 20 miles an hour as an average speed across 40, 50 miles. We had a route planned out. Everything was all together. I rode over there from the hotel I was staying at and met up with Dan Hansen, who's another velomobile rider. And it turned out us and one poor chap in a cruise bike were the only guys that wanted to do the Warrior Ride. And we were all tired from riding the day before, so we just decided to skip the ride and go have breakfast. So traditional biking there. We had a really fast ride to back into town to have breakfast, then a really fast ride back to the shop. So even though we didn't ride the official route, I ended up with about 70 miles that day just riding around town and going back and forth to things. So it was pretty good. Most people ended up riding what they called the Scouts Ride, which was the 20 to 25 mile ride around the park. It was a huge crowd doing that. So go ahead to the next slide, please. I took pictures of a bunch of individual bikes that I saw there. This is at the start. A lot of these bikes were really interesting. This was set up for touring. Go ahead. We're just going to skip through these slides pretty quickly until we get to the velomobiles. But there were a lot of folks with a lot of interesting bikes, a lot of old style bikes, a lot of bikes I hadn't seen in years, including a purple Bike E and some other things like that. Several of these off-road bikes showed up down there. Of course, there's a RANS, what they called pedal forward bike there. And there was really a lot of interesting bikes, interesting folks out there. And so for me, I like looking at everybody's bike. So it was quite a worth the trip down there to see what was going on. This little guy had a kicker, which is a powered pusher motor that when you need it, it pushes you along, which I thought was interesting. It was detachable. I'd seen those on the internet, but I hadn't actually seen one in person. They're pretty cool. So go to the next slide. And then we're at the velomobile. So that's Dan Hansen in the background. Those of you know, Dan was going to do a solo cross country here a couple of weeks back, and he became that guy we all talk about who managed to have an accident 6 miles out and is now in recovery from that accident. So we all wish Dan the best. He is a extremely good rider. And he is a good friend of the community, myself personally. So we're wishing for him the best. That is two of what the world considers today the fastest velomobiles. That's a DF next to a Milan. And just to give you an idea of the styling designs, we took a couple of pictures of these two bikes sitting side by side. That's Dan's DF on the left, the white one, and now on the right, the white one, and my red and white Milan. so you can kind of see what these two bikes look side by side. There's quite a bit of difference in the styling, but the basic shape's the same. So you can, you know, go ahead to the next picture, and that was our send off for the Warriors ride. So little did we know we were only going to do 6 miles for that part. Next slide. So after the Warriors ride, we came back to the shop. This is the Easy Street recumbent shop. There are just tons of bikes. Anywhere you look, there's a different style, different kind of bike. Some bikes, again, that I've only ever seen on the internet. And they were down. We could test ride pretty much anything you wanted. So that was probably a big highlight for a lot of folks. I got to test ride some bikes that I'd always wanted to. And we saw some homemade bikes like this one here and some other ones that people had built. I think the highlight of my trip, go ahead a couple of slides forward here. The highlight of my trip was actually trying to ride a fat tire trike. They had a couple of these all-terrain fat trike bikes there. I had never done that before, and you know, I do a lot of crazy stuff on bikes. Certainly have a reputation for that. And then check out the wheels pattern on these tires. But riding those fat tire bikes was quite interesting. They're heavier than I expected. I guess you should have known that, but they will go over anything. And so I had fun driving a fat tire trike across the curb and the stumps and everything else that we could find there. And so that was really interesting. Not sure I'd do a 200-mile ride on one of those, but certainly for riding around town, it was great fun. And that's not me. That's somebody else. But I wanted you to see how it was. We did have a recumbent university where they had a number of guest speakers. You can see Sylvia Hepburn on the TV monitor in the back. She was talking to us from Mexico. Talked about touring, loading the bikes, how to plan for it. Dan spent some time talking about how he was planning for his big solo cross country. A lot of people attended this. A lot of interest in it. So it was really well received. And they were having some food. Gary Bradshaw and a couple of other people, Bradford, excuse me, and a couple of others were cooking out there. And then we had some manufacturers bring out their bikes. This one I had interest in because it had that pinion 18-to-1. That was the first time I got to ride one of those. And that is a very interesting ride. I can't tell you that I like it or hate it yet, but it was certainly something that I'm going to keep my eye on, particularly as a lot of the guys are adapting them to velomobiles. It has a very distinctive shift pattern. Then we had a powered e-assisted bike, and that's my carbon trike in the background there. So we kind of had those two sitting next to each other so people could see what they look like. Go ahead and next slide. That was an action shot of that one. We'll see later on. That was a pretty cool setup that one woman had for her dog. And there's Ice VCX. So you can kind of see we had a little bit of everybody's manufactured bikes there. Pretty much there was something of everything. I saw some very unusual bikes out there, and then some very rare ones too. So now we go on to the second day of the rally, which was on Sunday, where we had a number of events. They had a bicycle rodeo, kind of a parade, and then some kind of little insane fun. We'll talk about that in a second. So this is the parade. They had this fabulous parade, wild and wonderful or fabulous, where you had to everybody voted on the costumes and the bikes, and that was quite cool. There were some folks that really dressed up and took it very seriously, like our Moo Mama there. And then we had some robots show up and some other things up. So it was quite fun. And there's our action of our puppy dog in the back of that trailer and I forget the lady's name, and I apologize. I wrote it down and then completely lost it. That had that little dog, and it was so cute. It would ride along in that trailer with her. So we had some visits from Santa, some clowns, and a Bender robot. So there you go. One of the other things that they did was something called that I guess Gary teased me about, said it was a Texas tradition. I said it was a hot tradition because it was the first time I had heard of it, which was called the chicken roundup. We had one gentleman on a trike playing chicken, and the contestant would go after this chicken and try to lasso him with a 700C tire. And you can see there's a couple of tires around him there. And so we took turns trying to chase the chicken down here in the parking lot. And as you might imagine, there was quite a bit of insanity, a lot of fun, a lot of good-natured competition and what have you. And of course, if you tried really hard on a trike, you could upset the balance of things and find yourself upside down, as a couple of folks did. But no trikes were harmed that I know of in this thing, but we all had a lot of fun.
That's
So-
just crazy. That's just crazy.
It
Doug.
was
And-
insane, but it was fun. It was fun.
Before you go on to the senior games, I want to admonish Denny. I don't know, Denny, how in the world did you miss that rodeo for the sports report? We'll talk about this later. You got to be able to cover these things. I don't know how that got
I
by
know.
you.
Thank God we have correspondence all over the place, right?
Right.
That's right.
All right, and Denny, before
So-
before we go on, Denny, you need to maybe unplug and plug or something, because that microphone's not going to work for you when we get to your report. So, okay, Doug. So now you went on to another event.
Very
Right?
next weekend, we had the Dallas Senior Games. Now this is interesting. So I hadn't heard of this before, because I guess I said I heard about it a few years ago, but lost interest in it because they didn't have recumbent categories. Several states, I think Florida started it, but now several states have started doing this. This is in a national kind of franchised situation where these parks departments all have this. But several states have had these recumbent categories. Unfortunately, not the national level yet, but certainly at the state level. And this is the first year our group did. An interesting thing about it, I could not get hold of the official numbers of the attendees, but there was just about as many recumbent riders as there were upright riders in this thing, which for the first year, that was fantastic. They had 4 events. They had an individual time trial at 5K, another one at 10K. They had a 20K road race and a 40K road race. They divided us up in 3 classes, and of course gender. So we had male and female uprights, 2-wheel recumbents, and then 3-wheel recumbents or tricycles. They did not allow fairings. And I tried. I mean, I wrote them a note. I promised I would have a fairing in my velomobile, but they didn't want me riding that one. So I actually rode my carbon trike on this one, which is a little bit of a rarity for me since I tend to stay in my velo. But no matter what, I told them, even with a promise of not putting a fairing on my velomobile, they didn't want me in there. So we did okay though. Let's go to the next page. It was sponsored by a number of bike shops, but the main recumbent group was sponsored by our friends who, just the weekend before had done the hot rally. They were up there in force, as you can see, sponsoring this rally. So they really helped us a lot with this. They set up shop and they did a bunch of actual. I saw them doing some wrenching and some other things, helping folks out for this race. So it was really cool of those guys to come up here and do that. Given they had to drive the same distance I was riding, I don't envy them either. Go ahead to the next slide. This was the course. So this was held at Texas Motor Speedway in the parking lot. And it is a 2.5-mile loop around this. It is not flat by any stretch of the imagination. There is about maybe 250 feet of grade change across this thing as you go around. Most of it was in the wind, as near as I could tell. We had that same storm that had helped me get to Austin. Was still hanging around, and so we had 20 to 35 mile an hour gusts coming out of the southwest during this thing. So a lot of the time you were being pushed straight into a headwind, and of course they started uphill, so that was even better. But we still had a good showing. We did have a little bit of mist the first day and a lot of rain the second day. The second day, a number of people didn't even show up because the rain was coming down so hard. 9 thing and rode out in the rain. It was again interesting because there were just as moments that braved the rain as there was as upright. So good showing for all of us. Go ahead to the next slide, please. And those are the medals. They handed out medals just like any other event. And then next to that, of course, is the more important thing, which is the food and drinks. We had some good sponsors for that. Next slide. And we had a whole host of showing. You can see the parking lot's pretty full. What I got was an unofficial number of 63, but that was just by counting up the names in the winner circle. So that's not bad for a first year of this. Go ahead, next slide. A lot of people had never even raced before, so it was interesting looking at this. We did have the usual group of upright riders that were out in their spandex and their wind cheating clothing and all that kind of stuff that were there. Had a couple of teams of those guys out there, and they did really well. We had a couple of them that just were amazingly strong. Go ahead to the next slide. And then we had our recumbents that stayed right there with them. If you go through the results, that's our two-wheel group there. What was interesting about this group is they're almost all on the same bike design. They all had the very similar high racer kind of look and feel. There wasn't any low racers this time around, which was interesting, because that would have been what I would have chosen if I was there. But you know, the majority of the bikes were there that were the two-wheel style recumbents for all these high racers. Go ahead to the next slide, and then we have our trike group that was represented there. We had a lot of trikes out there, and so you had a lot of trikes. Now that was more mixed. You had cat trikes, VTXs. You had my carbon trike. You had a couple of home-built ones and some other things. So that was a little bit more of a mixed bag of bikes. Go ahead to the next slide. We also had, you've heard of the chain tattoo. Somebody had actually had a real tattoo put on of a recumbent, so that was pretty cool. Now, the other thing that was interesting about this is my last slide. We had some issues with this because it was so many people showed up in the recumbent category. They really had trouble getting all the results tabulated. There was some mixed up stuff, so I didn't post the results to this. You can find them on the website. There's a lot of missing results. A lot of guys get dropped. So that was a little disappointing, but we'll give them kudos for the first time out. They did a very good job for the work for what happened with the number of people that showed up, which I think overwhelmed them a little bit. So in fact, I emailed them my list of things they probably could do better and the things they did really well to begin with. And I know we've gotten a lot of feedback, so I think next year it's going to be even stronger. I know a lot of people are going to show up next year, both in the upright and the recumbent communities here. So I think it'll be bigger and better next year, and I'm looking forward to it again.
Super, super. Thank you so much, Doug. That was a great report. Really nice to see the recumbents are starting to be accepted into some of these rallies and being able to compete. So it's nice to have a little view of that. So appreciate it. Welcome back on the show, and we're glad to have you in doing that. So.
I'm glad to be here. I'm going to be lobbying this national group here soon, so I'm going to twist your arm at some point to help me get an email campaign, because we've got 13 states that have this senior games, 6 of which now, more than almost half, have a recumbent category, and they got to go ahead and push this into the national level. So going to be trying to do a little campaigning on that later on in the year, so I'll twist your arm when the time comes for that.
All right, happy to have it twisted. Thanks a lot, Doug. Okay, we're going to go to Bryan. I'm going to have to help out here a little bit. Bryan, unmute yourself, and I will present you. There we go.
Hey,
I think you're on, and Bryan's going to give us the news report. Go ahead, Bryan.
Hey, sadly, there is not much news because it's spring technically, but not quite in the industry. I will have some more stuff next month. I've already got a few little leaks of stuff that I'm not supposed to know about yet. So next month we'll have a full, more normal news report. But this week I'm going to use the news time to give a little preview of a review that's going to come up on our site Monday night or Tuesday morning of a trike that I've had a lot of questions about, the Greenspeed Aero. If you guys don't know about this trike, it is Greenspeed's new very high performance model. It's very low, very sleek, very fast. Difference between a lot of the other high performance trikes out there, it uses small wheels, because if you know anything about Greenspeed from their past, Ian Sims very into the small wheels. So it's got a 20-inch rear wheel and 2 16-inch fronts, 349s up front, the more common now 16-inch size. Has a very laid back seat angle of 20 degrees, so it's quite a laid back extreme trike. Very not going to say super low ground clearance, but not as much as something on like a VTX or a 700, which is what people want to compare it to. But I'll get to in a moment why I don't really think it should be compared to those as much. But first of all, if you Google the Greenspeed Aero right now, you're going to find a lot of stuff about some teething issues that happened with the first ones that came out. Our test trike was not immune to those. I can say that they're all fixed now. Everything's fine, and anything that you get now will have all these things fixed. The primary thing was because they are manufactured in Taiwan, and they come over and it has a fixed seat that's attached to the frame. It's actually a structural part of the frame. The dealers have to install the seat mesh, and initially there was not a lot of instructions on how to do that. It's not like a normal seat mesh. It doesn't use snaps and buckles. You actually have to thread it, and it's a shot cord, And I myself had a very difficult time doing it. I remember doing it from the Greenspeeds of yore 15 years ago, but it's been a long time since I had to do it. And there were some issues with the idler touching the seat mesh, because this being a very high performance trike, some tolerances are very tight. So now they've switched to, it's in that photo there, there's a new smaller double idler instead of the one large one, which has eliminated that issue. And there are much better instructions now, including a video on how to install it properly. And once I did it as I should have in the first place, it was fine. But like I said, this is a performance trike, and it is very, very focused on that. I'm not going to say you can't use it as a daily rider, but it is a fixed 20-degree seat angle. The ground clearance is less than it is on a 700 or a VTX or something like that. And the upshot is I did honestly find it to be a bit faster. And I'm not going to say dramatically so, but it was measurably, noticeably faster than any times I'd had on a 700 or a VTX. It comes standard with the wheel covers you see here in the photo. Those came out a bit later. If you've already bought an Aero, you're probably just getting those. But even without the wheel covers, it was measurably faster. With them on, it's very noticeably faster. The wheel covers make a big difference. I say it's not practical for those purposes, as far as the seat clearance and the seat angle, but the handling is very, very practical. It actually has a super tight turning circle. So it's only 14 feet, which isn't as tight as some other trikes, but it's a lot smaller than a VTX or a 700. You can really maneuver it around in tight areas. And it has a very unique steering system. It's got a tank steering. I think one of the pictures there shows it a bit more with the cruciform. But it doesn't have a central pivot. It's tank steering. You move one hand one way or the other. It takes a minute to get used to, but once you get used to it, very good at low speeds, super stable at high speeds, especially for the relatively short wheelbase. I was very impressed. I had it up to about 45 miles an hour, and it was perfectly stable, very intuitive to use. They actually flirted with the idea of making it only one-hand steering, but of all of us that rode the prototype with the one-hand steering, I was the only one that liked it, so they didn't wind up doing that. And if you can handle the 20-degree seat angle, actually, though, the seat is pretty comfortable, and it doesn't ride too badly. It comes standard with those fairly fat Greenspeed Scorcher tires, which aren't, the usual super skinny stuff you're used to seeing on a high-performance trike, but they are very fast tires. They roll really well, suck up the bumps a bit. As I mentioned, there's shock cord in the seat instead of a regular string, so you get a little more smoothness out of that. It is an aluminum frame, but in a fairly short wheelbase, which you normally equals pretty awful ride, but it actually isn't that bad. I was pleasantly surprised with that. Overall, pretty good trike, as most in these high performance things go. It ain't cheap though. It does go for $4,400 is the retail on it, and that comes with 30-speed drivetrain. It does have a 928 rear cassette. That's the old Shimano used to call it the Caprio. I don't think they make it anymore, but a lot of other companies have kept on making it. You can get it on an ice and stuff like that too, with that 9-speed, their 9-tooth small cog, which more than makes up for the size of the drive wheel as far as your gear inches and all of that. And there's an optional Schlumpf high-speed drive to get even more out of it if you want to. But overall, very happy with it. Only comes in yellow and black, no blue. I always have to complain if something doesn't come in blue. But other than that, I really liked it, and it's a great trike, and I know there's a lot of people on the message boards and stuff that are huge fans of them. A lot of guys selling other stuff to get them. So look forward to that. They are in your dealers now.
That red frame that we just saw, that's not a production frame,
no, that's
right?
one of the prototype ones, yeah.
Okay. And a question from Park Talk 81, drum brakes. So Ian likes his drum brakes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he likes the drum brakes. And these are not like drum brakes you can buy off the shelf. They're 90 millimeter narrow hubs for him. I guess the fact that I didn't mention them in this little brief review means they work fine. I didn't really notice much of a difference. As with most drum brakes, the only real difference I notice in most riding is they're a bit more grabby, meaning they're kind of on or off. You don't have quite as much modulation as you do in a disc brake, but other than that, they work fine, and they do allow that really narrow track and the canted wheels a lot more easily than it would be if we used a disc.
All right, super. Thank you so
And
much.
also
Bryan.
it makes the wheel covers work a lot better too.
Okay. All right. Denny, be sure to unmute yourself as I'm going to introduce you here in a second to be on. Bryan, thank you so much for that really interesting mini review. Everybody's interested in that trike. When we were down in Florida, all those fast guys on the trails, they were throwing everything they had away, every trike they had, and buying arrows. So
yeah, and we both rode it at RCC too. It was like the one trike you couldn't get on at the track. Once everybody showed up, there was no way you were going to get a ride.
That's right. So yeah, if you guys take a look at our CycleCon video, if you check out the opening where Larry, Bryan, and I rode trikes, you'll see me riding an arrow on that too. So you had a chance to check that out. Amazing trike. So, all right. Thanks, Bryan, again. And now it's time to go to Denny for the sports report. Denny, you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
Bryan, you got him, or you want me to?
Yeah. You hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Fabulous. Jason Perez won the Solvang Double Century Saturday, March 18th, with a time of 8 hours and 44 minutes, just out-pedaling RAAM veteran and world-class ultra racer Marco Bello. The third-place rider was over an hour behind. The Solvang Double Century features 7,200 feet of climbing and is one of the Triple Crown 200 races. Jason won the Triple Crown in California last year, a first for a recumbent rider. He rides a cruise bike. Now, let me roll down here for this past weekend. David Lewis piloted his Velomobile to a second overall placing in the solo division of the Texas RAAM Challenge. The course starts and finishes in Marble Falls, Texas, in the heart of Texas Hill Country. It's 398 miles and over 18,000 feet of climbing. Dave dominated the race early on, but was finally overtaken by a four-man team of RRT Racing, Ultra Cycling, and solo rider Andrew Willis. However, it was an amazing effort on a hilly course. Dave finished in under 24 hours, averaging over 16 miles an hour. What makes this even more incredible is Dave actually rode the 1,500 miles on his Velo, self-supported to the race. Dave was quoted as saying, "The Texas Hill Country is beautiful, and a 19,000 feet of elevation gain is the most climbing I will ever do on a Velomobile in one ride." That's a long, long time, Dave. This month, I'd like to feature Alan Doom's Trans Am bike race attempt. For those of you who might not know about the Trans Am, it's a poor man's version of the race across America. However, it is not an easy race. You shouldn't really call it poor man's either, because it's a lot involved. Competitors are on their own. They have no support vehicle or coordinated support. Competitors sleep when they get tired whenever they can, and supply their own food, and generally do an unsupported fast tour across the United States. Additionally, it's over 4,100 miles compared with just over 3,000 for RAAM. Not a gimme by any means, and while there is no time limit, and riders may start on either coast, the record is around 18 days. Let me see, I lost my roll here. Okay, Alan, who is 67 years old, will be riding on his Vachetta CA3 outfitted like this picture of his Giro. And he will be starting from Astoria, Oregon on June 3rd at 6 a.m., along with over 180 riders from all over the world. As far as I know, he'll be the only recumbent entered in the third year of the race. The race finishes in Yorktown, Virginia, 4,183 miles away. While there is no time limit, riders are timed, and true to almost all ultra cycling events, the only prize is finishing. Alan is known in recumbent racing circles. He's done 4 Sebring 24-hour non-drafting races, currently holding an age group record from this year at 425 miles. He's done a couple Sebring 12 hours as well. He also holds the Florida cross-state record for recumbent at 25 hours. He's crewed RAW 1 time and RAAM 3 times. Alan is also a 3-time cancer survivor. Alan got the idea to do this event a couple of years ago. Since RAAM is quite expensive, the Trans Am seems to be an opportunity to ride cross-country on the cheap, and the racing aspect is just a bonus. The Aspired to Ride video really sold him on the idea, and once Cindy, his wife, came on board, it was a done deal. Alan is working but he's riding at least a couple centuries per week and will do at least 4 more double centuries as well. Preparation's been a challenge, but he feels the biggest challenge is the climbing. The route has over 165,000 feet of climbing and 483 miles. As a bigger rider, that can be daunting. His plan is a daily average of 180 miles, riding 18 to 19 hours daily at a sustainable power output. He also plans at least 3 out of 4 nights camping, unless, as he says, the smell gets too bad. One final challenge has been adapting the performance recumbent for climbing and the cargo carrying this race requires. Alan claims that you'd be amazed what can be accomplished with sticky-sided Velcro. The race will start June 3rd. All riders will be equipped with spot trackers, and a link to the tracking will be on the transamBikeRace.com website. I know I'll be watching. Finally, a report on Amanda Coker, highest annual mileage record. Amanda, as of yesterday, and she's riding today, of course, she rides every day, has ridden 75,160 miles. If she keeps on racking up the mileage like she's been the last couple weeks, she will break Kurt Servogel's record from just a couple of years ago of 76,076 miles in less than a week from now. She's averaging over 233 miles a day. And yesterday she rode a personal best of 272 miles. Her attempt ends on May 14th, so she will likely rack up many thousand more miles by that date. Total on next month's Laidback Bike Report. So that's it for the month. This month, the ultra race season is really getting in full swing. So there'll be lots to report in the coming months. If you have a story that you think needs to be covered, please let me know here at the Laidback Bike Report. Until next time, stay on the bike and keep moving forward. Back to you, Gary.
All right. Thank you very much, Denny. Great report. Good luck, Amanda. Boy, you're just 270 miles. It's unbelievable. You get stronger every day.
272. Like. Yeah, 272, yeah. Gary. Let's not minimize those miles.
2 miles, which takes her like 40 seconds. So, all right, great job. Thanks a lot, Denny. Let's move along now to Dana out in California. Dana, hey, Dana's going to talk a little bit about rear derailleurs, I guess. Dana, go ahead and tell us what you got.
And I guess Ember, the dog, is going to join me. Right. Our last couple of sessions, I've talked about some pretty esoteric topics. I thought I'd step back and do some of the basics here in terms of technical work with bicycles. So let's get into rear derailleurs. What I'd like to talk about first is selecting your rear derailleur and matching it with the correct shifter. If you get on Bent Rider Online, you'll see lots of discussions on, does this work with this? Does this shifter work with this derailleur? Well, I want to kind of make this easy for you. I'm going to leave out Campy. Okay, so please don't ask me any questions about Campy. What I want to talk about is SRAM compatible shifters and Shimano compatible. Those are pretty much the 2 basic camps that you have in rear derailleurs. If you want to go grip shifters, SRAM's the only one that makes them. Actually, Microshift does too, but the SRAM, Shimano does not make grip shifters. The really easy way to tell if your grip shifter mates with your SRAM derailleur or your Shimano derailleur is to look right here. If it has a number on it, like this is the SRAM X5, that means it is a SRAM compatible shifter. Here's another SRAM that has a name, MRX, letters. That means it's Shimano compatible. So this shifter here will work great with this Shimano derailleur. Not so great, in fact, not at all, with this SRAM X4 derailleur. When it comes to the SRAM components, it doesn't matter what the number is, right? This X5 shifter will work just fine with this X4 derailleur. You really just want to make sure that they're compatible in terms of speeds. When you move into something like bar end shifters, I'm not going to take these out because there's a lot of little bits and stuff in the packaging. Again, you want the Shimano shifters to be mating with a Shimano derailleur. So for example, this package here, the reason I have these parts all laying around is I just took apart an HP Velotechnic Gecko. And we take the SRAM grip shifter system off of that, and we actually put a Shimano bar end shifter system on here. So you can see those are a nice compatible drivetrain. with that, let's talk a little bit about installing your derailleur and getting everything dialed in and lined up just perfectly. I hope you guys find this as fascinating as I do. I've got a Bicetta Corsa here on my stand. The first thing you want to do, there was actually just a recent discussion on Bent Rider about why somebody's bike was not shifting all that well. You want to make sure before you do anything that the derailleur hanger is in fact straight, because if it's not straight, the derailleur is not going to shift. So I'm taking that derailleur off. This is a beautiful tool by Park Tools, the DAG 2. You can also make one of these. It's pretty simple. There are lots of videos on YouTube on how to do it. This fits in right here. And let's check out this wheel. I'm going to swing this around so you can, let's see, that's going to be about, there we go. So I bring this down here, and I'm going to look and see, you can see right there, I've got it touching the rim there on the bottom. I'm now going to swing this up to the top, and I want to make sure that it lines up with the rim up here. And as you can see, that is perfect. Right, so that's the vertical leveling, and then for horizontal, I'm just going to swing it down. It's kind of hard to see, but this is a little out. Geez, somebody's posting messages here that are getting in the way of what I'm seeing. It's a little bit out, right? That's about 4 or 5 millimeters off. Technically, that's within spec, but I'm just going to bend this a little bit to bring it a little bit closer and try and get that straighter. Okay, now we're just a couple millimeters off. So that derailleur hanger is now straight. So I'm going to take the DAG tool off and reinstall the rear derailleur, or bolt on the rear derailleur. Make sure you put a touch of grease on the threads of the derailleur. I've already done that. And this is a SRAM, getting back to the compatibility issues, this is a SRAM GX 10-speed derailleur. So I've got it mated with SRAM 10-speed bar and shifters. So I hope that helps. Now we're going to line this up. Actually, when I took it off, one of the pieces fell off. So hopefully this thing will go back together just fine. Here we go. The demo bikes that I'm using should not fall apart during the demonstration, but you know, sometimes things happen. Yeah, this one's being a little difficult here. Let me keep trying here. Should just take a second. I know this is fascinating, isn't it? Actually, there's really, I mean, when you know how to work on your derailleurs, it's actually pretty, I don't know, I really enjoy it. I enjoy being able to fix the stuff myself. And I hope I didn't break this derailleur mid display here. Come on, baby. Normally we don't do this in front of customers because there would be a lot of swearing involved right now. Yeah, see, this piece is coming off. So I could take up a lot of time trying to put this thing back together, but I'm not going to. Instead, really quickly, I'm going to grab another bite. Excuse me 1 second.
All right, this is the joys of live webcasting, I guess. We'll get back to Dana in just a second to get the exciting conclusion of the derailleur report.
I got plenty of bikes.
And next month, Dana will be showing us how to repair a derailleur, apparently. So, all right, are you ready to go there again, Dana? All right.
Are we still on me?
Yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Okay. So this is also a Bicetta Corsa. So when I'm doing this, when you're setting up the derailleur, the first thing that you want to do is get the stops aligned. See these two screws here? One says L, one says H. That's for the high gear. That's for the low gear. These are the set screws. You want to make sure that they're set correctly. They're setting the outer limits that the derailleur is going to move to. So if I swing this around here, I think you can see the cog right here is lined right up with that outer cog on the cassette. If I was to actually shift this all the way inboard, it would line up with the inner one. You got to play with that a little bit to make sure that that's right before you actually start putting the chain on and setting up the derailleur. The other bike I'd actually messed up on purpose so that I could show you a few things. This one's actually fine, so we'll just go from here. Before you actually thread the cable for the derailleur, the easiest way to tell if the high stop is set correctly is to pedal it. And you can see that one's not making any noise at all. Where if I did this, here, let me get to it. Whoops, that's not the right way. If I did this here with the high screw, taking that out of adjustment, you can kind of hear that clacking noise. So I'm going to turn the high adjustment screw until it doesn't make any more noise. That's not quite. There we go, that's beautiful. Now what I want to do is attach the rear derailleur cable. You want to make sure that you get it in the right spot. Some derailleurs have it over the top of the bolt, some are under, so just make sure you're setting it correctly. You don't need to pull it really, really tight because we're going to do some fine-tuning adjustment in a minute. So that's now attached. You also don't need to be a gorilla when you're attaching that bolt, right? Just a little snug. So now we're going to start running through the gears and seeing how it sounds. You can see I just shifted up one gear. It didn't even want to go up. So I need to tighten that cable a little bit. I'm up here at the barrel adjuster, tightening it up a little bit. Now let's try it. There we go. Went up beautifully. I'm going to keep going. It should be nice and quiet in all of the gears. If it's still a little bit loose, as I start getting up into the easier gears, it's actually going to start making noise. But, that's beautiful. Going up, that's a nice tight derailleur cable. Now we're going to go back down and make sure that it shifts cleanly into all the gears. As you can see, there's no noise. This derailleur is shifting beautifully. No, we found a little spot there. I'm just going to run back through it again. That seems pretty good. So at this point, I would run it through all the gears, then take it out for a test ride. That is a well-adjusted derailleur. Any questions?
That is awesome. You know, our panel is mostly people that are not well-adjusted, Dana. Yeah. So
yeah,
they're maladjusted.
I have one comment.
I don't know that they can relate. I'm sorry, but we're going to move along here because we have got to get going. We're running real long. Who go ahead.
I have one comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dana, when you want to make a comment about when you have to bend a hanger, when you have to do that, shouldn't you replace it?
I would say 95% of the bikes, when they're new, they come in here, the derailleur hanger is not straight. And so one adjustment is fine. Okay. After one adjustment, yeah, you're starting to weaken the aluminum, and then it needs to be replaced.
Okay.
Most of the recumbents on the market use pretty standard derailleur hangers. The best thing to do is get in touch with your local bike shop that carries the recumbents. They should carry the derailleur hangers, or contact the manufacturer directly.
Very good.
Okay.
We have a comment from Partalk 81, Dana, saying, "Nice, you made it look so easy." I'm not sure what webcast Partalk 81 is watching, but you pulled through great. It was a great report. Thank you so much for showing that to us, Dana. We look forward to next month.
My pleasure. Next month, front derailleur.
There you go. That would.
You thought this was exciting. Wait till you see front derailleurs.
We're moving up.
It was our first use of a stunt double.
Yeah. That's right, Brian. That's right. All right, Brian, if you want to come on back to me for a minute here. Okay, folks, let's get on with the show here as we start to wind down. We're going to go to the Google Plus recumbent bike rider community business. And if you could switch over to Carl for the slides, please, Brian. There we go. There I am. Okay, we've hit 1,119 members on the Google Plus community. The Google Plus community shows everything, talks about things we do on Laidback Bike Report, among other things. So if you haven't had a chance to check us out, I will also always, as always, have the link in the description of the YouTube video there. So we have a member locator map. Please, if you do get on the Google Plus community, place yourself on the map with a little form that we have on there. And let's move on to the contests of the month. There we go. First of all, this is the picture of the month. My new ice trike is smoking. And doing the smoking there is Larry Varney. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but Larry, that was an awesome picture that you posted on the community there. I just loved it. And that one picture of the month. So Larry, as most all of you know, posts lots of great pictures. So this is one of my favorites of his ice trike. So, okay. Also, next would be the video of the month. This was posted by John Rosignol, and it was a video that's actually been around for a little while by a guy named Paul Elkins, who made himself a $150 do-it-yourself bike camper. You'll have to check this video out. I've been watching Paul for a while and hope to maybe someday have him on the show. He's quite a builder and has some great ideas. This is a unique video, so if you have a chance, take a look at it. Okay, the discussion of the month, our moderator on the Google Plus community board, Marco Ropers, and also kind of inspired by Damiana Day, they started talking about making a recumbent bike book list. And so we put that together, and we've got the book list on the site. So you guys can take a look at that. I think Brian's book might even have made the book list there. So
it better have.
Yeah, I put you at the top. So anyways, another great discussion on the board. So take a look at that if you have a chance. And Pileus Pulcher, the post of the month. It is actually not a video, but a single or a snapshot of the weird vehicles on the street and on the water. So another nice shot. He rides just all around the Bavarian region down there in Germany, taking beautiful pictures and videos. So thank you. Congratulations to the winners. And if you'll come on back to me then, Brian, and then to Carl right after. So thank you. Okay, folks, I think it's clear from talking to Jerrell today that that RANS Bike strives to provide the best in customer service and quality products. And I think you'll find a similar pride and passion for excellence in the hand-built Velocity wheels spec'd on many of the RANS models. Velocity would like to extend an exclusive offer to all RANS customers. If you are looking to replace or upgrade your old wheels, that they are offering a special promotional price to our viewers. You can find out more by contacting Dave at velocityusa.com for further details. Don't have a RANS bike? Don't worry. Velocity has you covered as well. Just go to their web store, store.velocityusa.com, and enter promo code Laidback for an exclusive Laidback Bike Report discount on your next Velocity purchase. As always, we'll have all those links for you in the description section of the YouTube video. And I wanted to thank Velocity so much. Thanks, Velocity, for sponsoring the show today. All right, in closing, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on the next Laidback Bike Report. Actually, before the Laidback Bike Report, which will be May 21st, we are heading to Spetzi in Germersheim, Germany, and we'll be covering this fantastic show like we did last year. We're going to make a video, of course. We're going to have all the recumbent dealers, manufacturers that are at the show there doing interviews as we did. It'll be an extravaganza video just like last time. So I hope to get back from Spetsy that second week in May, and then maybe a week or two, maybe 3, depending how long it takes me. I'll have that video up, and you guys can all see that. And then we're on May 21st, our next scheduled Laidback Bike Report. Lars and Brian and myself are going to be on, like we did last year, and do a retrospective of Spetsy. So we'll talk about all the interesting people and pictures that we were able to capture of the show, and give you a little inside view of what it was like. So we look forward to being able to share that with you. That'll be May 21st. That'll be our next regularly scheduled Laidback Bike Report. All right, if you come on back to me, thanks, Brian. Okay, so I want to let you guys know not to forget that in the description section below the video, you're going to have a clickable table of contents that I'll be putting in there shortly, and all the links, as I've been mentioning on and on today, all the links will be there for you to click on and get to. And then I also wanted to, of course, at this point, thank all of the panelists who did a great job for us today. First of all, if I can, Brian, you want to hit yourself if you can? Boom, and put yourself off mute.
There we go.
What to do. There you go. Brian, thank you so much, as
welcome.
always, for everything you do for us on the show, and today especially, again, stepping up and handling the directorial duties. Thanks, Brian. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Fun.
We enjoy having you. And then Dana, let's go to Dana if we can. You got him? We didn't even get that. There we go. Make that funny face again. There you go.
All right.
Dana, thanks a lot. Thanks for
having 2 young children making stupid faces in the camera.
You're in practice, aren't you? So thanks again for.
I look forward to next week.
That sounds great.
Month.
Thanks, Dana.
Excuse me.
Next month, right?
Trailers.
Yeah. Well,
Fun.
we can do next week. All right. How about Denny?
I think it's next week.
All right. Sounds great. Denny, thank you so much for the great sports report, helping us out today as always.
Well, thanks again for having me. Good to be back. We were, well, it's not great to be back, but it's good to be back. We've been traveling for the last month, so got a lot coming up, and good to see everybody. And by the way, thanks for everybody that was watching live today. It was fun interacting.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. We appreciate it. All right, how about Doug? Let's get Doug on there. Doug, thanks for stepping in there today and giving us that great report from Texas. We always appreciate having you on.
Anytime, Gary.
All right, and how about back to Jerrell? Jerrell's still with us. We appreciate that, Jerrell, and his son. So thank you. Oops, stepping out of the picture. Thanks, guys. Thanks for working on the report with us today, showing us that great welding demonstration and showing us everything that RANS is about. It was a great opportunity for us all. So thanks again.
Thank you, Gary. It was a treat.
All right, and Larry Varney. There we go, Larry. Ensconced. Right there.
Here I am.
I guess you're tenting. It looks like you're out camping or something, maybe on the lawn. But thank you for being with us today.
Pleasure, and looking forward to whatever the next event is, whether it's next week or next month. So anyway, it has been a lot of fun, enjoyable, and informative. So I had a good time.
Great, Larry. And let's go back to Carl. Can show his face again after all the great slideshow work that he's done. Carl, thank you so much. Yeoman's job once again. That was a lot of slides, buddy. Appreciate the help today.
Yeah, it was real good. And as soon as the show is over, I'm going to go out and see if I can adjust my rear derailleur.
Okay. Well, we'll take that at its face. Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure, Gary.
All right. Great. So, and I want to thank each of you who's out there watching us today. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, appearing on the chat so we could take your questions and put them to our panelists and our guests. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for being with us today. Let's finish it up. A couple of shout outs. I don't thank my wife enough. And well, back up a second there. Put me back on if you would, Brian, because I got to thank my wife for the quilt. She makes a number of great quilts for the show, and this one you see behind me all the time, something she made a while back, and she's working on a new one. She does wonderful quilting work, and I want to thank Marilyn for doing that, just in case she's watching. And okay, and now we're going to talk to, let's see, we're not going to talk to anybody. We're going to talk about Spetsy real briefly. If you are at Spetsy this year, I told you we're going to be there. and you see us in our green hats like you see right there, please come on up and say hi to us. We'll be working the show, doing all the interviews and stuff, but we'd still love to meet all of you out there in Germany who are at the show and know of our show. So stop in and say hi. And also you can support us if you would by subscribing to our YouTube channel. I guess the little subscribe button right down there. That would be great. Like us on Facebook. Check out our website. That's laidbackbikereport.com. Excuse me. Click on that little letter I in the upper right-hand corner there, and it'll take you right to our website. And if you get to our website, now you can click on that picture so people can see. Thanks, guys. You'll be able to see all the sponsors we have at the top of the page, our most recent show, our upcoming shows. We have a calendar of our future dates. You can sign up for our mailing list, and I'll shoot you out an email maybe a couple times a month about what's going on with the Laidback Bike Report, what we have on future shows, and the day of, I usually send you an email to remind you as well. It will also have a page on there you can see for past shows, and including our live chat archive. You can see what people are talking about. If you haven't watched live, you'll see what they were talking about when we did talk live. And also bonus page material. We have bonus videos that don't make it to the air, and all the images that the slides and all that stuff that we have, that's there too, so you can always check that stuff out. And also while you're there, if you wouldn't mind buying a Laidback Bike Report hat, we'd appreciate it. 20 bucks, $5 shipping and handling. You can see how to do it right there on the website. We would appreciate that. So you can find all that at our website at laidbackbikereport.com. You want to come on back to me, Brian, for a second? Okay, so that's it. We're going to say goodbye. So until our next webcast from all of us at the Laidback Bike Report, so long, Bent Riders.